Oh, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the slight delay in our next episode of our Command Block Academy, but I had to take care of a few family things over the last few days. Anyway, today's episode will be another quicker one, and we're going to be going all over summon commands. So we're going to go over some basic summon stuff, some, a medium, type thing, and then we're going to get into some more, basic stuff. And today's episode is going to lean into one of our upcoming episodes where we're going to talk about bosses, boss mechanics, and summoning and creating your first ever custom boss. So that'll be fun. So go ahead and grab your notebook, drop that subscribe, and here we go into some summon commands. Hi, buddy. Anyway, so a summon command, which can also be used in an execute command, allows you to summon pretty much anything that you are looking to get, such as a mob. It could be a hostile mob, it could be a neutral mob, it could be a passive mob. It allows you to summon pretty much anything that you want. So, for instance, the most basic way of summoning is just type in summon and the entity. So, /summon and the entity. Let's go ahead and go back to our zombie examples and just do summon zombie. So that summons a zombie, plain and simple. When you summon command, as you'll notice after I type in zombie, it asks for optional coordinates. So you can use relative coordinates, you can use the carrots, which are based on the way you're facing, as long with your rotation and yaw/pitch. So for instance, let's go ahead and summon our zombie at a specific location. So let's go ahead and press F3 to get our debug window up, and as you can see, currently I am targeted at 3, -61, -7, but we don't want the zombie to spawn in that block, so we need to make it -60 in order for it to be above that block. So a neat trick is if you type in set block or /fill, you can actually tab the coordinates in order to get what you need. So let's go ahead and get those coordinates, and now if we close this out, we can now summon zombie at those coordinates, and there we go. Zombie is now summoned at that coordinate. And then of course you can, instead of using relative coordinates, you can use the carrots. So summon zombie, and if you use not percent, we want carrot. And if you use this, essentially what it's going to do is based on your rotation, so whichever way you're facing, and any yaw or pitch, so up or down, that's where it's going to be summoned. So if we take this and, for instance, let's say we look straight down, what's going to happen is if we just do this normally, it's going to summon straight down where we're facing. Otherwise, if we face up a little bit, it'll go a little bit that way. So what if we wanted to go directly 3 in front of us? Well, what we would have to do, if we don't use any type of additional commands within that summon, such as an execute, we want to face straight up. Otherwise it's going to end up being, in the ground, like I mentioned. So if we face straight up and we want it to be, let's say, 3 blocks ahead of us. So instead of having to use the relative position, which we used earlier, now what we can do is use carrot. So carrot, 3, because the first carrot is going to be left and right. Second carrot is going to be up or down, and then this one is going to be front/back. So now spawned 3 ahead of us. There we go. So now, what if we, let's say, always want the zombie to spawn 3 ahead of us into our right one, no matter which direction we are facing. What you can do is nest it in an execute command. So let's go ahead slash execute, and we want to execute it as us, so as P, or we can do at S in this case directly because we're running it as ourselves already. But I personally would get into the habit of executing as, because most of the time you're going to be executing a command as someone, you know, at someone, stuff like that. It just makes working with at S a little bit easier if you use execute as first. Otherwise, it's fine without it, but I would recommend using as, set that as, and then you can do at S. So what this is saying is execute as us, or the closest player, at us, so where we're currently standing. So we can be anywhere and this will function. And we can now use rotated, which we learned very briefly when we went over execute commands in episode 3. So with rotated, basically we need to put in what we want as our yaw and pitch. So when we use the tilde, it's basically telling us wherever, you know, we're currently facing, and 0 is going to be based on our yaw pitch. It will always at 0 put us facing straight rather than into the ground, which is neat. And now we can run summon zombie, and since we want it to our right by 1, we can use the caret, not percent caret, -1, because -1 means to the right. If it was +1, then it would be going to the left. So we want -1. We can leave it like that because we're already yawing or pitching based on that 0. So we don't need to tell it to be up or down anywhere. And then we want it 3. So 3 forward and 1 to the right. And this will now work anywhere we're facing. So it worked there. It worked here. It worked here. And it worked there. So now wherever we face, that zombie will always spawn up 3 and to the right 1. Really, really cool. So now let's go ahead and get our setup of command blocks. And let's go ahead and get into a couple more advanced techniques that we can do with summon commands, such as custom NBT. So with the summon command and custom NBT, you can actually pretty much summon anything you want and change all of their different attributes, which is really cool. So for instance, when we summoned our cat and named it Super Cute Cat, we did directly in our summon command. So let's go ahead and set up another one, and let's go ahead and tie this into, you know, our next couple, you know, episodes, because we're going to be starting to lean into our data pack dash series, and we're also going to be starting our adventure map creation series. So now it's time to kind of work on some ideas, you know, based on that, and give you some examples of what you can do for your own maps. So for instance, in one map we are going to be creating, I want a quest giver, and that quest giver will give us, you know, any types of quests that we want to do, you know, on that map, adventure map, RPG, something like that. So let's go ahead and summon villager. We don't necessarily need to set coordinates, but I'm going to do it just on top of the command block, so we can go ahead and use the tilde, which means summon it right where that position is being executed, but we're up 1, so above the command block. And now what you'll notice is NBT, which is optional, will now allow us to set that information. So with NBT, we started with the squirrely brackets. And for this one, what we want to do is we have 3 attributes that we want to adjust for this villager. First, let's go ahead and give him a custom name, and let's call him Quest Giver. So what will happen is similar to our cat. Instead of being literally called villager, it'll be called quest giver, which is neat. We also don't want this villager to despawn if we leave the area, a decent far amount of blocks, and normally they would go away if we don't have this. So what we can do is called persistence required, and we can do 1B. What this means is, as long as this is set to 1B or true in NBT format, they will not despawn naturally. They can only despawn based on us killing them, or if we type in the /kill command. So persistence required is, pretty nifty, especially if you want like a quest system, villagers to act as NPCs, and you never want them to naturally despawn. So always have persistence required 1B or true. And then what you can also do is put in no AI 1B as well. And what this will do is cause this villager to have no AI, and it literally won't do anything. Like, it'll still do the head nod, it'll still make sounds, but he won't walk around, and he won't have any type of other actions. Like if you were to hit him, stuff like that, he just stands there, makes the sounds, and you can still right click. And if it was a trading villager, for instance, you could still make trades, but it won't move around, it won't do anything. So we can use no AI 1B, totally up to you. You don't necessarily need it, but we're going to do it for this purpose. And let's go ahead and summon him. So now there's Quest Giver. He will not despawn normally because we have persistence required, and he has no AI, so that's why he's able to be like this. Normally, if he was spawned on top of the command block, he would fall, onto it and start moving around, but no AI means he can't move around. Cool. And then eventually in our later series of Data Pack Dash, I will actually be showing you how to actually create custom dialogue with our quest giver. So that'll be coming later on. Now, what if we want to summon a custom mob and have it be a little bit different based on the normal type of mobs that you normally see? So let's go ahead and summon a skeleton, and using the custom NBT. But first, let's go ahead and set up our relative positioning to be on top of the command block. And for our custom NBT, let's do some of the similar stuff that we used. So custom name, and let's give him a custom name of Dungeon Guard, because what this will do is create a mob that I have an idea for our adventure map once we get there. So now that we have a custom name, let's also do our persistence required is 1B, so the skeleton doesn't go away based on normal despawn rules. Let's also, actually for this one, let's leave out no AI, because I want to have this skeleton freely roaming around. Later on, maybe I might do no AI, we'll see, and kind of create like a custom way for it to move and attack us. But for now, let's just leave no AI off, just so you can see, what the example looks like. And instead of giving him a bow, let's go ahead and have him wear an iron helmet and an iron sword. So it's kind of like a different type of skeleton, and more of like a melee one rather than a ranged one. So what we can do is now set what's called equipment. And in this equipment one, we can set a couple things, such as not Jid, head. So in the head, let's go ahead and set up the helmet. So ID will be Minecraft iron helmet. And when we set up equipment type content, we actually do have to have what's called count. So after we do the ID, we do have to give it a count. So count will be 1. And then what we'll do here is also give him main hands, and we will set the oops, I need the colon, and ID is going to be Minecraft, if I could spell correctly, iron sword. There we go. And then we need to give it a count of 1. All right. Now let me close this off. What did I do wrong here? Did I not close something right? Count 1. See, that's the biggest problem about Java interface. Like, you can't extend it down similar to Bedrock, so you have to like know exactly how you're typing it in exactly. So persistence required 1B, equipment. What did I do wrong here? Oh, colon. That's what I was missing. So as you can see, anytime you put in a command that isn't correct, it will cause that part to be red if something is wrong. And until it changes to a different color, then that command is still wrong. So now that it's turned green, everything is perfectly fine. So basically what we're now doing is we are summoning a skeleton, one above the command block or where the summon command is executing. We're giving it a custom name of Dungeon Guard, position or persistence required, true. And for the equipment, we're telling it the head is going to be iron helmet of count 1, and the main hand is going to be iron sword of count 1. And there's our Dungeon Guard, a skeleton, iron helmet, iron sword. Pretty funny. So now, as an example, let's go ahead and change my game mode real quick to survival. And now, instead of shooting a bow, the skeleton is manually attacking me. Run away! Don't kill me! Creative! Okay. Yep. So, kind of fun. So instead of the skeleton being ranged, it now has to walk up to you and attack you with the sword. Super fun. And finally, let's go ahead and now kind of go into a little bit more of like a boss type setup. So this will be our last command for today. But real quick before we do that though, let me go ahead and give you an example of what you can do to make sure that you can reset what you've done. So we're going to give this summon a tag of boss. So what we can do is kill E or all entities with a tag equals boss. So anytime that tag is found on an entity, it'll kill it. So for this one, let's go ahead and summon a zombie this time. Same relative positioning, so tilde +1, so on top of the command block, tilde. And we'll do our custom name. And for this one, let's go ahead and call him Crypt Stalker. Ooh, spooky. We'll do persistence required is true. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep the green or last swirl off just to make sure I do this correctly, because I think it'll be easier to like see it as I'm typing versus like everything at once. And then what we want to do is also give him some equipment, but a little bit more. So equipment will be let's go ahead and give him first iron boots, so feet for iron boots, and the feet will be ID of Minecraft iron boots. And of course you can add in whatever type of boots, that you wanted to have, or any armor that you wanted to have. We'll give him helm or head of same thing. We'll do iron helmet. So head will be ID Minecraft iron helmet. And then count is 1. And then what else do we want to give him? Let's give him as well in the main hand a iron sword. So main hand will be ID Minecraft iron sword and count of 1. And then let me just make sure. Yep. Okay, good. I just wanted to be sure that that was set up correctly, which it is. And now let's go ahead and actually change the zombie's attributes, because this is going to be our boss, and we don't want the boss to have like the regular 20 health that the zombie has normally. We don't want them to do like the regular damage that the zombie does. We want, let's do, I would say 8 damage, 40 health, and give him a little bit of extra movement speed. I think that would be cool. So now what we can do is set attributes. So attributes, if I could spell it right, because apparently I cannot spell today for some reason, basically allow you to change what the base stats of that summoned entity is, which is really neat. So in order to set attributes, rather than just doing the swirly brackets that we used for the NBT, attributes use what's called JSON formatting. So JSON formatting starts off with the regular brackets right here, or the square brackets. So just make sure that you're using like the correct type of bracket setup, depending on if it's just pure NBT, just the swirly brackets, or if it's a specific other thing that you're editing, such as attributes. It needs to be the JSON type format, and you can know what specific formatting you need on a website called MC Stacker. MC Stacker gives you all of these different commands, and you can pretty much set anything you want on a mob, which is really, really neat. So let's go ahead and first set our first attribute of ID will be Minecraft attack damage. So normally our attack damage on a zombie is pretty low, so let's go ahead and make it a base of 8. I think I said, yeah, 8. So now what this will do is set the attribute of the zombie's attack damage. Instead of the default value, now it's going to set it to 8, which is super cool. So anytime he attacks me, he's going to do 8 damage rather than the normal amount that a zombie does. So we'll end up dying in like 2 hits rather than 4 or 5 hits, which is kind of interesting, because that's a pretty heavy dealing damage boss, but that's the point of a boss. Like, they're supposed to do a lot of damage. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and also set their max health. So ID, and that'll be Minecraft of max health underscore. There we go. And normally their base max health is 20 for a zombie, but now for this one we're going to go ahead and do base 40. So this zombie, when we summon it, is going to have 40 health rather than 20. And then finally, let's also go ahead and edit their Minecraft, and we're going to do movement speed. And we don't want it to be way too fast. So the normal base is point, like it's like 0.1, 0.2, something like that. So I don't want to make it too much bigger. If you were to do like base 2, it would like fly all over the place and it would be kind of crazy. So we're just going to do a base. Oops, I need to close that off. There we go. Let's do base of let's do 0.3. I think 0.3 would make it okay and not go like all crazy like. So let's go ahead and close that out. There we go. And basically what this is doing is now we're summoning a zombie, one above where it's executing or the command block, custom named Crypt Stalker, persistence required 1 base so it won't naturally despawn. We're giving it the equipment of feet, which is iron boots, count 1, head, which is the iron helmet, count 1, main hand, which is the iron sword of count 1, and now we're changing the attributes of their attack damage to 8, their max health to 40, and their movement speed to 0.3. And now if we summon, there's our Crypt Stalker, who now moves a little bit faster than a regular zombie. And he attacked our villager, because, yeah. But, as you can see, Crypt Stalker walks pretty fast for a regular zombie. And he's going to take a lot more damage because he has 40 health rather than 20 health. But rather than punching him to death, remember we have set this. Oh, wait a minute. I realized something. When we were doing our summon command, we didn't actually tag it. So we need to come back in here and add in that tag. I completely forgot to add it. And that can be, you know, anywhere, pretty much wherever you want it. So tags would be boss. I completely forgot about that. So right now, that command won't work on that one, but if we summon another one, it will. Yep, so that one is still alive. That one isn't. But what we can do, just to get rid of him, is change name to Crypt Stalker, and it will. There we go. And our skeleton is in there somewhere. Yep, there he is. So, roaming around randomly. Anyway, that'll be it for today. As you can see, the summon command is super fun, super cool. You can do so many fun things with it. You can summon mini bosses, you can summon pure bosses, you can summon basic things like our guard over there. You can summon super simple things like our villager, and you can edit their NBT, their attributes, stuff like that. Next episode, we're going to be going all into scoreboards, and then starting from episode 7 to 8 to 9 and our final episode of 10, we're going to be kind of going into more of our more advanced stuff, preparing for our data pack conversion series, preparing for our adventure map series, and really kind of getting into the nitty gritty of all these commands. Thank you all so much for today. Again, feel free to drop any comments, any suggestions, any feedback in the comments down below. Join the Discord, toss a subscribe. Thank you guys again so much. I'll see you in the next one.